Hey, everybody, welcome back to One's Ready podcast. We don't know what we're going to talk about today. We are the official, unofficial podcast of the Air Force. It's not just special warfare. You can come here for all of your Air Force needs. That's what we do here. Today, we're going to start talking about fitness. And when you're thinking about joining the pipeline, the mentality that you need to have before you even go in there to give you the best chance for success. So, Jared, this is something that you were talking about just a little bit ago. Your pipeline mentality, getting your mind right, getting your fitness right. Like, what are the things that these folks should be looking at before they, hit that button, so to speak, to join?
Specifically for the pipeline?
He just said it. How were you not paying attention? He laid out an entire intro.
I know it was excellent.
That was maybe my best intro I've ever done.
And then
He
I
teed
followed
you
it.
up. He missed a whole fitness joke. Like, hey, this episode, you're going to be fitness motivation inside of your head to help you in the pipeline. He had a terrible pun that he could have teed up, and he didn't. He's asking you, Peaches, when you went in the pipeline, did you have an on your shield or come back with it mentality? Like, were you more like Till Valhalla, brother? Like, what kind of mentality do the folks need to have out there?
I don't know. Good God. No, I definitely did not have that. And I'll tell you, most of the 17, 18, 19-year-olds that are coming in probably don't have that. I was because I didn't have things like this or developers or anything like that, came with the I just need to survive. Holy shit, what is happening to me? That's what I had.
Nice.
Because there was no, like, okay, I knew what I wanted to get into. Like, oh, I want to do something hard. I want to do something difficult. I want to test myself, all those kind of standard things. But then when I got there, it was like, okay, I kind of need to survive and make it out of this alive. Because every day I was under the impression that cadre were going to try and kill me or were trying to kill me.
Nice.
And that may or may not be true. Who knows?
I don't know.
I'm not one to say whether or not they are or are not trying to kill somebody.
Yeah.
But
they're sadistic homicidal maniacs, or they were.
Are.
A long time
they
ago.
were.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Jared took the American hostage sort of view, like you're in a terrorist tunnel. You're just going one day at a time trying to make it out. You know what I mean?
Well, I was, because if you look at the entire pipeline, like it's a big elephant to eat, right? So
It is.
And especially as a 17-year-old, and I think as anybody, how do you take a large task or a large undertaking one bite at a time? So that's how I did it, but I don't necessarily recommend that. I mean, it worked out for me, but I don't necessarily recommend it.
That is a technique, just to be seaweed and kind of go. You see a bunch of, students have a wide range, right? There are people that literally go in there every day, and it's like an active fight against the system. They are literally trying to beat the ocean. They go in there, and it's, two ends of the spectrum, right? There's seaweed sort of guys and girls that go into the pipelines. They're like, yeah, whatever happens, man. It's just today. Like, I'm just going to get through today. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there are those dudes that are like, I am going to beat the ocean today. Like, I am going to make the waves stop moving. And they just go in and just straight through. It's like the guys in land nav. They don't terrain nav at all. They just go up and down over every single terrain feature because they're going to beat the mountain that day. I think you got to find somewhere in between. If you're too passive, I mean, that's just no fun for anybody. But if you constantly, talk crap and you're constantly aggressive all the time, that's also pretty grating, especially when you're dealing with somebody on team that's like that just all the time.
Oh, dude.
You're like, calm down, bro. Like, it's not that serious. Like, it's just a jump. You don't need to listen to death metal and get up for a jump. You're just falling. Just shut up and fall. Just land on the ground.
But I want to be like Goggins. I want to be super intense every day. What's wrong with you guys? You guys think you're fit? You're not fit.
Who is going to curry the goats? That's the question.
Well, I'm hungry too, so
I do love me a good.
Jared's always hungry.
I do love me a good yellow curry. My favorite part of any podcast is when we get in the studio and Peaches isn't in yet. And he just comes in. He's like snacking on something, probably a waffle. He's drinking a cup of coffee. It's great every morning. Big time. Just really like it.
I mean, that goes to the point of what motivates you, though, right? Like, there's a lot of different ways to be successful. I think that's one of the hard things about, a subject like this for us is, we've seen a lot of students do it a lot of different ways. We've seen people fail a lot of different ways. We've seen people make it a lot of different ways. And so I think, you have to know what motivates you, what's going to get you through. Maybe you are like Jared. Maybe you should stop listening to everything right now. Just jump in there, Stockholm syndrome, the shit out of it. And then just like survive until the end, and then you're going to be okay. or you might be like an information person. You might need to find the cracks and figure it out and work smarter and not harder. There's a lot of different ways to get through any of this stuff. But I think one of the big things that's going to help you use the stuff between your ears is your physical fitness, right?
Because don't try to bring it back. Damn it. I could see it happening from a mile away. And I got Trent, I've had it with you. All right. Talk about physical fitness.
No, fine. We're going to talk about mentality. Jeez, Aaron. You can't think if you're not fit.
Right. And if you're in there just on a run or in a smoke session and you're just dying because you're not fit, because you didn't prepare correctly or appropriately for the task at hand, then all you can think about is, God, this sucks. This is terrible. When's it just going to end?
All I have to do is just add a little bit of cold to that scenario.
Oh, man.
Just a little bit of water.
Take a little bit of oxygen away. A little bit.
Magnifique.
And now all of a sudden I can get you to quit.
Yep. 100%.
You know, that comfort is just back there waving at you going, hey, I'm right here, buddy. Just nice, warm, embracing hug, you know, just, oh yeah, come on in here. And now next thing you know, and it only takes one quitter and then boom, pop, 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 a whole bunch go. It's infectious.
Legendary Chief Master Sergeant Robbie Bean. I will never forget this. It was prep team. Like back in the day, it was called prep team. You didn't have SWIC. You had 2 weeks of just running around, you know, Lackland, Medina, JBSA, whatever you want to call it, Chapman. And it was no kidding prep. And Tech Sergeant Robbie Bean at the time steps out onto the pad and he's like, all right, hey, everybody, I just want to know who wants to quit. And like 30 dudes raise their hand. He's like, are you effing serious? I was joking. And literally it was like Wednesday on prep team. We were just looking around like, what is happening? Can you even do that? They 100% could. And then they took the next 2 days to process those quitters and then they were gone. It was a wild scene. But you know, Trent, I have to imagine it's because they didn't focus on the appropriate types of physical fitness before they get in. So I'll ask you, we know what the IFT is. We have many episodes with many different subject matter experts on what you should be doing to get to the IFT. We've even told you what numbers we think you should hit, like what numbers are comfortable to where you're like, okay, if you're hitting these numbers consistently, you can go in. So what other things would you add to a fitness regimen that would help people with not only their fitness, but the mindset that they need when they go into the pipeline?
I mean, you know me. I'm a big aerobic baseline guy. If you don't have like that aerobic capacity, if you don't do your LSDs, the long slow distance runs, and when I say that, I mean like actually long and actually slow. Like it should be uncomfortable. When I used to do my LSDs, I would wake up super really so that no one could see me running that slow. Like that's where my ego's at. Like I don't want anybody to be judged,
right?
Yeah, like trotting for like 7 miles to build up my aerobic capacity.
Right.
So like that's one of those things, like it makes you more efficient. It makes you better at everything. And there's this like some of these old school mentality things is like, oh, if like you can run, like you can't lift or you're not strong or whatever. Like we're not looking for bodybuilders. We're looking for people that can do everything. And that aerobic, you know, LSD capability is going to make everything else easier. And it's going to help you out a lot. So maybe Jared doesn't like, you know, he disagrees because his wee little legs don't really like LSDs, but
wow, that's hurtful. We're just hurting each other's feelings today.
I'm part of the Zone 2 crew.
I was going to say.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You know,
what's Zone 2?
If we could,
what's Zone 2, Jared?
Zone 2 is your heart rate. And it's different for everybody, but it's, you know, and shout out, that is not my thing. That is, I adopted that from Taylor Starch, the mad scientist. And if you haven't checked out those episodes, they're mind blowing. I think we have 3 of them. I believe
we
need to get them on again.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
So the mad scientist Taylor Starch is a firm believer in Zone 2 work. So a lot of times, like yesterday, I did an hour on the Stairmaster and I stayed between Zone 1, Zone 2. I did not creep up anywhere near Zone 3, and I just hung out for an hour just doing that. I'll do that on a run. That is more difficult because that kind of mentality, and then you pick a day and you're like, you know, it's Zone 2. I'm not taxing myself. I feel incredible. The weather out in Vegas is amazing, you know, and then all of a sudden you feel yourself creeping up. So it is tough to stay in that Zone 2, but man, you can just go forever. just keep going and going and going. And then you're not burnt out the next day or the next couple days, because it's taxes is theft, but it's taxing your body now. Like if I tax my body today, like really, really bad, that's going to affect me, for the remaining couple of days until I have a solid recovery day. But if I kind of zone to it out and I don't tax myself, that enables me to work out not sore, not depleted for the remaining of my training week. So, I actually get more fitness
Volume.
or more quality in the long run. And I don't want to misquote Taylor, but I want to say that he said that some of these pro athletes that are at the high end in the Olympics and professional athletes, they spend about 90% of their time training in a zone 2 and only 10% above that. Now that stat may be wrong, but I know it's something like that.
Nobody can call you on it anyway. We can make up whatever stats we want.
Yeah, it's only gonna be people we know, like mom, dad, wives. That's it.
Sure.
Definitely not wives.
I don't
think.
I don't think that's right. Whoa.
Yeah, she does not listen to this podcast. Adding the zone 2 stuff, it was after the first time that we talked to Taylor Starch, and I started adding in probably 2 sessions a week where I'm at zone 2. Same thing as you, Stairmaster, and it is tough for me as well. Stairmaster, you're there for 20 minutes. You're like, I don't know, I could go up another level, and I could go up another level, and then pretty soon you're crushing, at 170 sustained heart rate for an hour.
Yeah.
But adding in those zone 2s has been the biggest benefit to the fitness regimen that I've done. So there's actually other, this is just a tangent because I saw it on the internet the other day, but if people are trying to lose fat, if you're out there and you're like, hey, I cannot lose fat, there is research to suggest the 30-30-30 method. So you wake up, and within 30 minutes of waking, you take 30 grams of protein, so 30 grams of lean protein, whatever your choice is, and you go for a 30-minute walk inside of zone 2, or a 30-minute exercise. It can be a bike ride, a row, Stairmaster, or whatever. If you do that for 30 days, you will lose body fat like no other. There is research to suggest that's just the way the human body is meant to be. Like, you wake up, you get sunlight on your face, you have a little bit of a snack, and then you're supposed to go out and walk and go hunt for your food. That's how we evolved. But they found that has the biggest impact on body fat. None of this fasted cardio, intermittent fast, all these other things that our boy Tyler Mitten hates. And I love watching Tyler's videos because he's just mad. He sees something about nutrition he doesn't like. He's like, this guy's stupid. And it makes me laugh. But 30-30-30. So try that for 30 days and see if you have an impact on your body fat. Because I bet that you will, because science.
Yeah. Well, there's a balance.
Not the
there.
science about the masks. That was bad science. I'm talking about the good science, like the actual science that we can prove and actually does something. Sorry. It's almost COVID season. World War III season's almost over.
Versus science to religion. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. I still have my World War III decorations up, and I know it's about to be COVID season, so
Jeez,
I got to get those ready to go. What?
We got to get him his own podcast, like ASAP. But there's a balance to that, right? Like, we're not saying that you need to be like, shredded 6-pack, 8-pack, Brad Pitt, Fight Club
that's
type
good.
of weight.
Yeah, that's not the point.
When you join. And in fact, like, a little bit of body fat is going to help your performance a whole lot once you join the pipeline. But we know that there's, I've walked around, and seen some of the younger folks, and there's more fatties than there's ever been. So, like, dropping that weight first and foremost is going to be a huge deal. And then, the second thing I get asked about a lot is the water, right? To me, like, everything changed one day in the water when I found a comfort level that, like, it's like running. When I was running one day and all of a sudden it was just exercise and it wasn't that big of a deal and I didn't hate myself for doing it. And I kind of got out of that fight or flight thing, like just running at 180 beats per minute, just because that's what you do. There was one day in the pool when all of a sudden it was just exercise. And it's kind of like that zone 2 swimming where you can just go and go and go and go. And that kind of like opened the door for the rest of my like comfort in the water, which obviously I'm not nearly as comfortable as these fine combat dive gentlemen that are here with me. But Peaches, what are some of your tips and suggestions for water comfort?
Well, one, you got to get in the pool.
Wait, slow down.
I know.
Wait a second. Hold on now.
Hold up. And we are no longer in that time where people are, pools are closed and stuff like that. So, so to caveat that, or maybe I don't know if that's the correct use of the term.
You just go.
Anyway,
You're good.
just go.
Wait.
I get it.
He doesn't get flamed?
No,
like
I
you just
don't.
tell him to go?
He's a
I don't
chief.
get lambasted for
All
it.
right.
Okay.
You don't. Wow, lambasted's a great word.
How
Get
old is he?
lambasted for it.
Not everybody has access to a pool, so fully acknowledge that, or it's just not feasible just with the shift schedule and that kind of stuff. So, you still need to be doing your cardio type stuff, your aerobic stuff, and then your breath hold kind of regimes. But if you have access to a pool, get in the pool, and you got to live in it. You really do. And I mean doing underwaters safely with a spotter or with a lifeguard that is tracking that you're doing underwater stuff. But you got to go subsurface because you're not just swimming is going to help you aerobically, but it's not going to help you underwater. And just play. It doesn't have to be serious. Like, oh my God, okay, I'm doing buddy breathing. I'm doing something. It could just be, I don't know. I know.
Go
Aaron
find an underwater hockey league.
That's what I'm saying. Go hit in deep end fitness. Like if there's a deep end fitness in your area, find them and go. I bet you'll go to a lot more and you'll sign up, but at least because I think they do try out, like they do. Come try out.
Yeah.
So just go do it because it's fun and that will get you comfortable. And I was going to say, when we had swim team, we do sharks and minnows. So it's a very similar kind of thing, right? It's essentially wrestling underneath the water, which is kind of what underwater hockey is, or the underwater torpedo league. If you watch any of those videos, it is full up wrestling underneath the water. That will get you comfortable real fast. So that's what I would recommend.
Dude, how many times have you seen students after a pool session where in the entire pool session, they're acting like they're being murdered? Doing like 25-meter underwaters, and you're like, okay, time to play like underwater hockey. Yeah. And all of a sudden, all of these dudes have like 2.5-minute breath holds while wrestling with each other underwater. You're like, what were you complaining about?
Yep.
Let me tell you about the time that I watched somebody quit.
Yes.
So it was a Monday. I think it's probably the same. It's probably not the same because ANS doesn't actually objectively evaluate anybody. But back in the day at INDOC, when we used to have evaluations every Monday, you would have the instructors would not screw with you. So during that day, the instructors had a tick mark, right? So like during the day, like you would do something, you would clap at the wrong time, or you would slap the floor at the wrong time, or you would, somebody would do something stupid, and the instructors would be like, "That's a tick mark." And then at the end of the day, when the evaluation was over, because it was a whole day of evaluations, you would do all of your cal evaluation, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, flutter kicks, run, all that stuff. And then you would have your water con evaluations along with your fin. It was every Monday, right? Well, they wouldn't screw with you, and they wouldn't drop you during the evaluation. They would want you fresh for the entire evaluation. So, but at the end of the day, you had to pay the man, and it was always the worst. Like the Mondays where you're just like tick mark after tick mark, like you can just feel it by lunch. You're like, oh my God, we're gonna be here till 9:00 at night doing 8-count bodybuilders. This is gonna be terrible. So retired Chief Ron Thompson, legend of the career field. He's a career field manager for a while. He ended up being a wing chief. He's RT. So he was running the pool deck, and we had 15 tick marks. Like it was ridiculous. It was just a bad day. Like it was one of those days on team. You're just like, man, we suck. And we did suck. So he's like, all right, cool. So that completes the pool session today. And by the way, like you started to game the system a little bit, right? You knew when the bus was coming. Like the bus was coming at 3:45 every single day at 15:45 for you military idiots. So at 15:45, you knew the bus was coming. Well, it was like 1:30, and we were like, oh no, this is bad. Like there's plenty of time in here. There's 2 hours in here of us getting just beat to death. So we were just like, oh, here it comes. So sure enough, he's like, all right, everybody, count off by twos. One's over here, two's over here, and we're in the deep end. And like 3 people quit. And RT, like right away, they were just like, nope, this is not for me. It was like week 3. The last Monday, we just got absolutely destroyed. I mean, just like grassy. We were running out of the pool to go do like buddy carries in the grass outside, and then coming back into the pool. It was awful, right? Just cats and dogs living together, worst parts of the Bible.
I wonder why the pools we use never work.
I know, right? Yeah, it couldn't be the mud, the grass, and the doo doo, baby. Anyway, so there we were, ones and twos, and like 3 or 4 people. I can't remember how many, but it was enough where it was like 3 or 4. And he literally looked at everybody and was like, "You don't even know what we're gonna do. You're quitting." And you don't even know what we're going to do. Do you want to just stick around? And they were like, nope. So they immediately go out there. He's like, okay, well, ring the horn or blow the horn. Go out, fall in on your gear. Go back to the schoolhouse. Catch the bus over there. Ride a shame. So then he looks at us and he goes, we had a national level swimmer on our team. His name is Jeremy. He was like, hey, Jeremy, get in the middle. He's like, go in the middle and tread. So Jeremy's in the middle and tread. And he goes, this man is a shark. And you all are minnows. And we literally looked at each other. We're like, we're playing sharks and minnows right now.
Oh yeah.
And we played sharks and minnows and water polo for like an hour. And RT brought us all in. And he was like, you guys suck today. You need to figure this out. Like, don't tell anybody that I didn't smoke you because I'm supposed to, because all the instructors hate you today. But let that be a lesson to you. Like, probably just see what you're going to do before you quit. And everybody was just like, all right. So we legit played sharks and minnows and water polo for like an hour and a half. It was great. And then, oddly enough, the rest of the week went better because we took all the pressure off of ourselves. And just like you were saying, Peaches, you're like, oh, wow, if you get out of your own head, you stop expecting the worst and you stop pretending like you're in a battle for your soul. Like, maybe it's just training. Maybe it's just something you've done a million times before and it's not that exciting.
Just have fun. I mean, things don't have to suck. And that's, I think, there's been a lot of talk about the, at least within the kind of mill community, about the smoke session kind of hell weeks, kind of thing, and I won't call out anybody in particular, just because, I mean, one seems to be doing it right. There's some that are not doing it right, apparently. So, you don't have to make things suck. Like, it's okay every once in a while, I guess, but things don't have to suck. Believe me, the suck will come. Like, and you are not stopping that train unless you ring that bell. But you can go into the pool and just have fun, and then build up that comfort level and comfort and confidence level, and then put yourself through some shit. Just a thought.
It's going to suck anyway. Life is good. Life is going to suck more. Yeah, your life sucks. I'm sorry. It's the human condition. You're born. You didn't ask to exist, and now you're just here paying taxes and going through this terrible thing that's life. And sometimes it's cool, but most of the time it sucks. You don't need to make it worse on yourself.
Yeah. Well, and expectations, right? Like, I remember one time we woke up the students for the extended training day at the CCT Southeast Selection Course, and typically most of the classes, and all the classes know this, like, there's the Cone News Network, and they all tell each other everything about everything.
Of course. Shout out Cone News Network.
Yeah, they're awesome. Typically it's like we wake them up and it's like, lay out their rucks. We do like all that other stuff, which turns into grass and grills, which turns into a long ruck and some other stuff. Well, we're like, hey, this class, we're going to change it up. So we woke them up, got them right on the bus, straight to the pool. So they're not expecting it, right into the water. And I remember there's this one guy who, obviously he spent like 20 minutes with me the afternoon before talking about maybe, I want to quit. But he was like a performer. I'm like, don't, like, what's your problem? You don't need to quit. You're fine. He gets in the water, does it just fine in his like a uniform, completes the iteration and then gets back and quits. And it's just like, is it really, like, you haven't failed anything yet. You're not even close to failing yet. And he quit. And I think a huge part of that was just like, he was expecting one thing today and it was something totally different. And we threw him in the water. And even though he's performing, so if he could have just turned off that, like, whatever in his brain that wasn't living in the right now, he would have been fine. He would have made it through that day, no problem. But instead, like,
the worst,
things weren't going the way that he expected them to go. And so it just turned into like this cascade of negativity in his brain that led him to quitting. And you see that kind of stuff a lot. Like those people that go out there and they want to like beat the water into submission that day or beat the ocean. The trap with that is when you lose, like, how do you bounce back from that day? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you got to fail fast, baby.
Yeah, that's it. And you always want to learn from your mistakes, but we say it all the time. Like, okay, take your lesson. Like, we're not saying just be like, oh, I'm just gonna go on with life. Today sucked. I'm just gonna do. Like, that's not what we're saying. We're saying, okay, get your lesson out of it, but don't put so much on yourself. I'm thinking about terrible quitting stories. At the end of our extended training day, which used to be a full week, right? It used to like start on Tuesday and you weren't really done until, all the way up through Wednesday and Thursday. And then sometimes it would end on Thursday afternoon, sometimes on Friday morning, depending, whatever. I literally watched but it was another staff sergeant on my indoc team. And the cadre did a great job of screwing with us because we thought it was like Thursday afternoon and they were sort of like winding down. You could kind of tell like not as many instructors were there. And you can kind of catch the vibe, right? Like you're like, everybody's home sleeping. Like they kind of left at like 1:00 and we only had our team proctor and the assistant proctor were there. So you're kind of like, okay, I think that we're getting close to the end here. They had the bus come and they said that the bus, that we were going back to the pool. And it was like 1:30 or 2:00 or something. And we were just like, oh my God. And literally another staff sergeant looked at me and like we were going to the bathroom or something. And he was like, I can't go back, Aaron. If this bus is going to the pool, like I'm just going to quit. And I was like, what are you pussy? Yes, you can. You just made it through 96 straight hours. You tell me you can't do a couple more underwaters? Like get your mind. But then the funny thing is they had us, like this is like 2 hours later. Like we were done. Like we were done. It was obvious we were doing like the box of ascots was out. It was obvious we were just doing like the performative last exercise of whatever, and a kid quit. It was like log PT. Like we were just putting a log up over our head and then putting it on the other side of our body. And he quits. And I can't remember the kid's name, but he was a young guy. He's like 18 or 19. He was this blonde kid. And I literally was grabbing him. I was like, listen. And I was like using his real name. I was like, I am not talking to you as Staff Sergeant Love. Like, this is me, Aaron. I'm telling you, bud, we're done. This is it. You made it. Like you don't go quit right now. Like we're finished. And he was just out of it. He was just in that space where
that decision was made
his mind up. And he was like, I'm done. And no kidding. Like he quit and we were out of the schoolhouse before he was. We were going back to the dorms before he was done like reporting in to fill his paperwork out. We were just like, what are you doing, my guy?
Dude.
It was the worst.
Ugh.
I want to say something real quick. So come sit and relax. I love you. He put a post out about typing ooh woo for the government. And he was making fun of like the Army esports account, which is a terrible post. And I told him he was on timeout and he said ooh woo to me in my DMs.
What
come
is
sit and relax.
ooh woo?
I have had it with you. Okay. Timeout. All right. Sorry.
What does that mean?
Yeah. What is ooh woo?
Guys, I don't want to do this. It's an internet. So like in like the anime space, it's like something that like anime, like ooh woo. Like that. It's a noise and an emotive inside of the anime or animated art space. And I'm sad that I know that, but I have teenagers. So there you go.
You know who's not on timeout? Cardomax.
They're not.
Cardomax is not on timeout.
No, they're not.
They're in full force this morning. I feel pretty good.
I love me some Cardomax. Dude, my favorite part about Cardomax is you can literally put it in anything. It doesn't have like an overt flavor to it. It does taste good. They have a bunch of different flavors, which I dig. I think like the blue raspberry is probably my favorite one. But you can put it in anything. Any other drink, I put it oftentimes in just a normal like crispy water, like so normal bubbly water. And it's fantastic. Great drink. Plenty of caffeine. Take it anywhere. Love me some Cardomax. The rehydration stuff that they have, the Hydromax, swear by it. I love the Hydromax. Really, really good.
Yeah. What is that? Wave Crush?
Yeah, Wave Crusher, I think. Get out of here. That's the move right there, my dude.
That's what's happening this morning.
Oh, is that what you got?
Nice.
I'm out right now.
I'm
trained
fiending for my
all
next.
of it.
I'm sitting, dude. When I get close, that's when the text message starts going. Be like, "Hey man, can we talk to the boys over at Cardomax?" And man, we gotta figure this one out. Love those guys over there. Sean Matson was great on the podcast. Cardomax in general. Go check out cardomax.com. I believe our code is one's ready. Over there.
It is.
Still.
Code is one's ready.
God. Look at me crushing the ad read. All right.
Yeah.
You can also head over to drinkhoist.com, right? And use the same code for the same discount.
Use it.
Same
We love
code.
the team over there. Demi Bagby. We've got Rachel, Rachel Waters over there doing her thing with Team Hoist. So we got a strong team over there. No big deal. Just some Ohio people, just Southern Ohio, Cincy,
Okay, well,
Kentucky.
we
Don't ruin
don't have
it.
to talk about that then.
Jeez.
Listen, the Browns are 4-3. They're going to be 5-3 after this weekend. Deshaun's playing. Come on, you know what? You know what I'm going to need after a little eggy beer when Cleveland is confirmed. I'm probably going to need to go to drinkhoist.com and pick up another one of these blue raspberry, the premixes. They got these all around the. I don't think I've told this story before. The funniest thing that happened to me when I was up at the academy. I'm sitting there. We're in the hall. Like they feed 4,000 cadets a day. They Mitchell Hall, I think it's called. They make this big deal because everybody eats lunch. There are no lunch shifts. Everybody forms up when you're a cadet and you go eat at the same time every single day. And they feed 4,000 cadets every single day during the period of like an hour lunch period. Like it is actually, it is a logistical marvel what they do. Like I will give them credit. Like that's a crazy thing that they do up at that small technical school tucked into the Rockies, mostly for boys.
So they have NCOs running the chow hall, I'm guessing?
They probably do, yeah. That's where the NCOs are. They're serving food. That's why it gets done. I can't imagine anybody else that actually does work because they're officers. But the point is we're sitting there and somebody recognized me. And the funniest thing that ever happened is this young cadet. And I mean, he was a brand, I think is he a dually, a first year guy? Dually is a second year. I don't care what they call the first year guys. They're not even human. Anyway, he walks up and he starts doing our ad read to me. And it was hilarious. He was doing it like to the guy that I was sitting with, my friend Justin. He looks at Justin and goes, "Hey, Justin, do you know that this hydrates 110% more than water does? It's actually one of only 3 DoD beverages that you're allowed to drink for rehydration inside of the military. I like the packs myself." He was doing my ad read. I laughed like an idiot. Like he got me good. And he never acknowledged me. Like he legitimately did the ad read to my friend. He's like, "Okay, well, have a good day. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go earn each breath." And he just walked away.
That's amazing.
Magnifique. Go to drinkhoist.com. Pick up some.
He's going to be a great logistics officer someday.
He really is.
For the record, you're not funny, you little kid idiot.
An idiot.
Whoa.
Just kidding. But that is a good point. If you're on base, if you're at the BX or the exchange or whatever, and you see some of the other beverages out there, you're gonna find the hoist there as well, more than likely. So grab that instead. It's a much better alternative.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this out here right now. I'm gonna challenge Jake Paul to a grappling match because his drink Prime sucks. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in it you don't want to drink. Hoist does not. It's good.
Yeah. And I hope you get that boxing match too. That'd be amazing.
I say grappling. I don't
Or
want to
grappling.
strike. I have enough.
Well, I mean, I'll go box him too. I don't care.
Okay.
He's got one hell of a reach on me, though.
He really does. Yeah, he's
boy.
Jake Paul,
I
Logan
don't
Paul
get
from
too far with these.
Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, those little mitts of yours.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if he just like put his hand on your head and you were doing the thing where you're swinging. Yeah, You just went 30 style boxing, putting up the dudes.
Yeah. Why not? It's the mindset I have, the training mindset.
Wow.
One of the things that I think helped me is I joined. I don't want to say I joined a little bit late, but I left high school a little bit early. I had like three something years before I joined the military, and I was able to see the civilian world. And so, like, it's funny to me sometimes when people will be like, "Oh, I don't think I want to join the military. They're going to make me do stuff I don't necessarily want to do." And I'm like, what kind of world do you live in?
Right.
Where you get to go to work and do the things that you want to do, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, that mentality of like, it's not better on the outside. Like, it just confuses me sometimes when people will be like, the military is so different than the civilian world. It's like, no. Everything that's worth anything requires a certain amount of sacrifice. And even then, there will be things that you're asked to do, no matter what you do. I don't even care. Like, if you're a lawyer or a judge, whatever, you're gonna have to do stuff that you don't want to do. So, I think that gave me a little bit of perspective. So, if there's any way for people to find some perspective before they start making life decisions, I think that's a positive thing. I know Jared was like, 15 years old and lied on his application to get in. So, like, I'm not sure you had any perspective coming in the door.
No, I definitely did not. But it is funny because you do hear the, "Oh, well, I don't want to wear a uniform," or what. Guess what? Everywhere you go, not everywhere, but a lot of these places, McDonald's has a uniform.
There's a dress code everywhere.
So what?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, and unless you own your own business, there are certain tasks that are being directed to you that have to be accomplished, and you are accomplishing that. So essentially, you are being told what to do. It's there are also, like when we talk about some of the admin work that we have to do in the military. You've heard about the enlisted performance briefs or the enlisted performance reports or some of the award things. Well, guess what? There's employees of the month. There's employees of the freaking, of the year at all these other places as well. There's paperwork and admin work that has to be done because that's how people get promoted and fleeted through whatever corporations they're working for, if they happen to be working for a corporation. So like that paperwork exists everywhere. That admin work, that dress code, whatever you want to call it, all that stuff exists. There are still standards. There are fitness standards too in other places as well. So I mean, it's not that different than everything else. It's just that, in the profession of arms, maybe you end up being deployed, or maybe, when you come in, not maybe, but when you come into basic training, sure, you're going to get yelled at and you're going to get broken down so that we can build you up to what we need you to be.
And in the end, you might get to jump out of planes, shoot machine guns, and kill people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you get on the back end of that. Like, you're not going to get that in the civilian world. I was about to make a real inappropriate joke about some stuff going on right now. Remind me to tell you after we hit don't record. So, because, man, it was funny in my head, but it was one of those things. Like, that's that maturity. That's what I've learned through the pipeline. It's like sometimes you don't say the joke and you just joke with your friends later, and it gets you out of trouble. And that's what just happened there.
Well, okay, so I'm glad you brought up maturity, because I was, as the folks on Discord often know, I lurk. It's rare that I say something, but I definitely lurk. And somebody was talking about how their buddy was removed because he was too young. And that's, of course he shapes the narrative, like not the guy in Discord, but his buddy that's telling him why I was removed. Yeah, I was removed because of my age. Well, no, you weren't. There is no. We have age limits for a reason, and we don't go. If you're 19, then you're 19. You're within that. It has nothing to do with your numerical age. Now, maybe you're just a jackass. So it has to do with maturity, right? If you're told, hey, you're too young, it's not because your numerical age. It's because
you're acting like a child. It's because you're acting too young. It's because you are immature. Like, you can be 17 and get in, that's fine. And we have an age limit that starts at 17 because young children cannot consent to life-changing things. Okay. So 17, and now the age limit is 42. As long as you enlist before you were 42 years old, which is the new update to the age limit. So it used to be 39. Now it's 42, right? As long as you enlist when you're 41, bam, you can get in and you can go. So for all those old people that are looking to get in, there you go. But it's maturity. You're not too young. You're acting immaturely. That's the deal.
Dude, I met some people in their late 20s that didn't make it, that acted the exact same way. It has really very little to do with the number. Obviously, like over time, you would hope that you would gain these things and that you wouldn't adopt these victim mentalities and everything isn't somebody else's fault and yada yada. But your age really has very little to do with that. It's all about your perspective, your experience, and how willing you are to take responsibility for all the things that are happening around you, and whether it's your fault or not. Like, and that's one of the things I think that happens in the pipeline is we stop playing the blame game after a while. Like, it's just reality, like it is important to know who jacked up, but in the moment when it's time to fix it, everybody just jumps on board to fix it, right? So like, don't waste your time like worrying about whose fault it is or it's somebody else's fault and why do I have to do this. Like, there's something that has to get done. The mistakes were made, and the quickest way to get to where you want to be is just to move out and to fix it. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and energy and all this other crap. And that's the maturity thing, right? Is getting a little more selfish about your time and energy and what you're willing to spend those things on. And you can start doing that stuff before you even enter the pipeline. Like, it's, New Year's is coming up and some people believe in resolutions and yada, yada, yada. Like, maybe it's time to get rid of all that crap in your life that you don't need, so you can come in all streamlined and ready to become the new you or whatever. Like this big, one of my favorite things about joining the military is you got to reinvent yourself, right?
Yeah, a ton.
Yeah. So Jared, I mean, I keep going back to you. I realized like the other day, like I had an epiphany in the shower that I never ask you questions. I was like, I always go to Aaron. Why do I always go to Aaron? So I'm making like a concerted effort today.
I purposely try and avoid it. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want everybody to figure out that I'm a fraud. So,
you guys ever have
Trent
those moments?
Trent and I have slept together, and I'm going to say that just like that. Trent and I have slept together too much. We've had too many times where it's, late nights like, Aaron, do you think aliens exist? Totally, Trent. 100%. Let's talk about it. We do. We've shared that time. So I think that's probably why he defaults to me is there's that safety. But
yeah, we get no sleep.
Yeah.
But Jared, was there anything that you needed to like get rid of as you entered the pipeline or before you even shipped out that allowed you to do what you did?
I got rid of a girlfriend.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
He went on a diet, 125-pound diet.
Yeah. Just because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to be focused and I wanted no distractions. So that's what I did. Man, that was a long time ago, dude. I don't know anything particular other than just, but I mean, I know, kid, and I sold my car. I went all in. I sold car. I broke up my girlfriend, and I worked at my job up until about a month and a half before shipping out, just because that was my last summer before leaving. So I was like, okay, cool. I just want to focus this last month and a half on training and have no issues, in terms of getting in trouble or anything like that. So I just, enjoy that. So I just kind of, I guess I did streamline my life. In terms of mentality stuff, I don't know. Just focus on training. But yeah, I guess I did streamline my life. I didn't think of it like that.
I used to poo-poo the January new year, new me resolution thing because Trent, you and I see eye to eye on this one. Like, if you want to make a change, you don't have to wait till January. You could probably just start like right now. But I have for whatever reason, I've kind of evolved to this. But usually at one time every winter, I said it the other day. I was like, you know what? I'd look at my closet here, and there's 50% of these clothes that I haven't put on in a year, and 50% of these clothes that I could probably donate or get rid of or really thinned out. Like, I don't have stuff anymore. I have very little things, like the stuff and things that I have. Like, I have not accumulated a whole lot of those things. If you need January to be like, I'm gonna donate a whole bunch of stuff, I'm gonna clean out stuff that I don't need to include my diet, whatever, more power to you. I don't know if you need to wait till January. You could probably just do it today, as opposed to having a New Year's resolution. But if you're a New Year's resolution person, I've actually evolved on that to where, man, you're taking the first step. You're doing something as long as you can maintain it. I'll tell you what, I hate the gym. January through like February 15th really sucks because you got people in there, and it's this thing where you don't want to shame them, right? Like, the last person in the gym that you should shame is a fat person because they're in there trying not to be fat.
Busting their ass.
They're busting their ass. Like, they're in there, and I'll bet they're probably pretty self-conscious about it. I bet they know that they're fat. That's why they're in the gym. That's why they're in the gym working out, trying to be better.
They found
the last thing they need
somewhere.
What's that?
They found a mirror finally, and they were like, "Oh, dang."
Jeez, I love how we're talking about not fat shaming people, and Trent is like, I hate
like
fat
right
people.
in. I'm in.
If your BMI is over 30, Trent is not your friend. You have an issue. I do hate the gym, but they're in there. They're trying to get better. I would say just stick to it. If it's a New Year's resolution thing, when springtime comes and you're not doing it, that leads to a cycle of you overeating and still being fat. So shout out to all those overweight people that are trying to make it, but maybe don't wait till January. Maybe that's the thing, is you don't need to wait to make those changes. If you want to clean your closet out, you want to donate, you want to clean up that diet, you could start now. You'd be ahead of all those New Year's resolution people. And then something amazing happens. You can come onto our team and you can be like, New Year's resolution, huh? And I'll be like, yeah, I know.
Guy.
You've been here since Halloween when you decided that you were going to lose a couple pounds. Like, look at these idiots. New Year's resolution, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's not really a New Year's resolution, right? Like, you have to make that resolution every day and figure out what you're going to do, right? And I don't know. At least for me, every morning when my alarm goes off, I'm like, I have to have a whole conversation with myself, just get myself out of bed. You know what I mean? And I'm still young enough to re-enlist. I could enlist right now.
Oh, snap.
Man, that made me
I
feel
come
weird.
right back.
Yeah.
Was that weird?
But I think that's the social media thing. Like I love all the I mean really kick-ass motivational things that are on there, like really well made content that's on there that real life people have said and get you going. Like that shit still gets me fired up. But that's not what gets me out of bed and goes, you need to go do it. It's the discipline aspect of it. It's going, I know I've got to go do this. I've got to get in a run today, or I've got to get a workout in today, no matter what my schedule looks like. And the people think that it's got to be some, 3 hour long session for a workout. Dude, you could do a kick-ass, just smoke over workout in less than 15 minutes. You really can. You just have to dedicate the time to it and go, I'm doing this. Like, this is happening. So,
Yep.
I mean, you really can. I mean, it could be as easy as 10 sets for 10 reps of burpees, push-ups, air squats, and sit-ups.
All you need is a deck of cards. You know how many times I've done a deck of cards workout with JMAC in a random hanger? A ton.
He loves playing cards.
I know, he really does. One of the most clear memories of Croatia, like there was no gym for us to work. We were sleeping in a bombed out hangar, on the flight line. There was no gym that we could go do. And he would just get up. We'd eat our little mountain house breakfast or whatever it is that we were eating out of, MREs or whatever it is that we had. And he'd be like, all right, in 10 minutes, we're going to start this deck of cards. You just pick 4 exercises, you go through the deck of cards, and you're done. Like, I have distinct memories of, 4 or 5 of us going through those workouts for that 2-week period, just all the time. That's all you need. Just do it.
Yep. It's the dedication and going, well, this is going to happen. So let's just get to it instead of kind of kicking the can down the road or finding ways to procrastinate.
Well, what is it about people that makes them want to kick the can down the road?
It's easier. It's comfort.
Yeah, it's definitely easier.
Yeah. I'll tell you it's super easy. And, mark this time, 46 minutes in here, Aaron talked about jiu-jitsu. It's easier. It's easier for me to not go to my 5th training session this week. Like I'm supposed to be there at noon. It's easier for me not to go. I feel beat up. I feel old. I had hard rolls yesterday. I got bruises everywhere, and my face is worse than my face normally is, if you can believe that. But because it's more comfortable, it's easier to make an excuse and not go. It's not easier to be like, all right, cool. Well, and by the way, like Jared, great point about it. Doesn't have to be this thing. Like today, I'm going to go there today. I make a joke, with my friends. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go today, but I'm not going to try too hard. I'm not training to go to the 80cc trials. Like, you can go and just have like a normal training session. It doesn't have to be a CrossFit workout where you're dying by the end of it. It doesn't have to be, a 3-mile run as fast as you can possibly do it where you throw up. Like, I don't know, maybe go at like 80% of your pace. If you don't feel like going, awesome. Just go do something then. Go do something that you can just get through, put a notch on the calendar and say, hey, I got after it today. It wasn't 100% effort. Maybe it was a regen day, whatever it is that you want to call it to make yourself feel better. It doesn't have to be the most intense thing in the world. The point is that you do it and it becomes part of your battle rhythm. Just like CZ, congratulations on Chief Siak, Colon Lopez's retirement. So now he's just Uncle Ray again because he's retired. But he used to say stuff like that all the time. It doesn't matter that you don't do 100% of the day. You just need to get up, be disciplined, and go do it. It becomes part of your battle rhythm so that you do it over and over and over again. His quote about professionals practice till they can't get it wrong, while amateurs practice till they get it right. He would apply that to everything. I heard him say that when he was an instructor of mine back at the schoolhouse, and many times through my career when we would cross paths. He's like, you just build it into your battle rhythm so that your core skills, your physical fitness, your profession is, you just spend hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft to where you cannot get it wrong. And physical fitness is like that. Like you just put on some days it sucks. Nobody wants to go do it. It's hard to be in shape all the time because you're constantly sore, you're constantly tired. And then you have a training session coming the next day. And it gets even harder, for the folks that are listening out there that are going to the pipeline, at least you have a goal. One of the harder things that I've had to experience is like, I don't really have a goal right now. I'm just working out to be in shape and to make sure that I can, be a dad, 20 years in the future from now, and be walking around at 60. Like, I want to be one of those guys that is walking around and is in very good shape at 60 and still up and moving around. I don't want to look like some 80-year-old that doesn't know what room he's in with the nuclear codes.
Sounds made up.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Shit, I had something on that.
It's because I was just blabbing off at the mouth. Sorry, everybody. Aaron Love Hate Club. Let me know in the comments how bad that was. Sorry. That's my favorite account. I love it so much. Nothing's ever made me happier.
I got it. Nothing. It's gone. It's gone.
Well, there's a few roadblocks, right? Like, and one of those roadblocks is the first time you walk into the gym, or the first time you put on your spandex or whatever and go into your garage. Is you want to compare yourself to other people. You're like, I'm not a fitness person. Like, what am I doing? Why am I pretending to be someone that values physical fitness? Why am I pretending to be one of those people? And then your brain's going to do all these things like, I'm not a vain person. I'm not like this other guy. I'm not like Jared. I don't have that kind of discipline. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I'm not one of those people, which is absolutely nonsense. That comparison thing is terrible. Like, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday. And if you didn't get better, that's when you should feel a little bit bad about it. But comparing yourself to Aaron, like, you don't have to go to jiu-jitsu and all these other things. Like, and we see this in the pipeline too. I don't know how many times I have to harp on this. Don't look at the kid that looks great in his t-shirt and think that you're not going to make it just because he exists.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean anything.
I'll tell you what, I actually, on the jiu-jitsu thing, just because it's my hobby, I've actually gotten a lot more joy. I find myself going more a week since about a year ago. I just tell people straight up. They're like, "Oh, are you going to roll in this tournament? Or are you going to fight in this whatever?" And I'm like, "No, I do jiu-jitsu as a hobby, dude. Like, I'm not a tournament guy anymore. Like, I've been in tournaments. I've rolled in more than 10 tournaments. Like, I'm good. And competition is part of jiu-jitsu, and to make your, to get those experiences, cool. But when I stop comparing myself to the 23-year-old competition, Division I wrestlers in the gym, like, of course, those dudes are probably going to tap me out because I'm 20 years older than them and we have different goals. So, comparison is the thief of joy. You don't need to be like all those other people. You can do these jobs as yourself. We got a question the other day. Well, I don't know why, but we've gotten like 2 or 3 questions recently about like, oh, well, tell me, like, what's the difference between the personality types, and what's the, what kind of personality type? I said the same thing. It's such a hard question to answer. Like, I don't know. Like, we make jokes about, PJs being hippies and controllers not being able to read, and, special reconnaissance. We're going to delete that career field pretty soon. But really, when you look at it, there's so many.
Us if you can't find us. Yeah.
Yeah, right. 100%. Yeah. But there's such a wide, I've worked with people that were homeless living in their cars before the pipeline. And I've worked with people that went to Dartmouth and had a microbiology and engineering degree, like the range.
And they're always best friends.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the range is ridiculous. So I don't know, but you can be who you want to be as soon as you stop comparing yourself. Like, you don't have to be high school quarterback, 4.0 GPA student to do these things. You just have to not quit. You just have to show up every day and be disciplined.
Got to be about that grind. Yeah.
Baby.
So I remember what I was going to say. I finally wrote it down when I remembered it. Everybody's felt it out there where you don't want to get up and train, or you don't want to train. But those are the days that are most important, because you train and you feel amazing afterwards. And you're so thankful that you actually, even if it's short, you are so thankful that you actually did get up and do something. And I feel better, at least me, I feel better after I have trained on a day that I really didn't want to train than on the days that are like, all right, I'm feeling great. And it's just one of those things. And then the other thing is, if I don't, I don't enjoy working out in the morning. I would prefer to work out in the afternoon when I'm more awake.
Wow. Oh, you and me, I can't, babe. We're out.
So that's body wise, and mentality, I would prefer to work out then. But I know that if I don't work out in the morning, my chances, just because my schedule or something's going to pop up. So, and then I have that, like if my schedule, because my day to day is usually pretty solid, except for a couple times a year where there's a lot of travel or something like that. And then I have that hanging over my head all day long going like, man, am I going to get a workout in? Am I going to get a workout in? And sometimes it's when I get to the hotel, late at night, all right, I got to do something real quick. But I don't like that hanging over my head all day long going, man, I really hope my plane doesn't get delayed or another meeting doesn't pop up or something like that. So that's why I work out in the morning and I try and make it a no kidding thing. But yeah, you got to train on the days that you don't feel like training and you'll feel amazing.
Yeah, and you got to find a reason, right? And it's different for everybody. And I know we keep beating this dead horse, but like whatever you're gonna do to be a better version of yourself tomorrow, I don't give a shit if you're joining the military or not. If you're listening to this podcast or whatever, you becoming a better version of yourself tomorrow is the best thing that you can do for your family and for your community and for your country and for everything else. Anything that you want to accomplish in this life, getting more fit, being a little more selfish up front so you can have a bigger impact later on. Like whatever it is, like this idea that you are who you are and you can never change, or that you have like these like other altruistic tasks that you need to do that are more important than taking care of yourself. Like that's all nonsense. Like to have an outsized impact on all the people around you and to do the most good in this world, being physically fit, having that discipline to be fit. It's more about the discipline than it is the fitness, I think. Those are the things that are important. You need to value yourself enough to know that you can make a difference, to get that discipline and to make a difference in the world around you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Golly.
Really
What's going on
it.
with you, Trent? You've had several today that has just been like
So
Don't
good.
say it out loud.
He's so good.
Say something stupid
He's
now.
so good at it. The working out in the morning thing, I can't.
He's so good.
I hate training in the afternoon so bad. Like I got this from a good friend of mine, Brian. I will wake up 2 hours earlier than I need to just to make sure that I own that part of my day. Like the early day is the only part of my day that I own. I will rather get up and work out at 5 o'clock in the morning and get it done and then just slide into my day and be done than everything else. That's the one thing. It's the hardest training sessions for me to get to are the night training sessions, because I get done at 4:30, 5 o'clock is a perfect time for me to just sit down, chill out, let the day be over. I'm like, okay, I'm going to cook dinner here and a little bit. But if I have like a 6 o'clock jujitsu that I'm waiting on, it is so hard to stay motivated to go to that thing. It's those are the easiest ones for me to lose discipline and do exactly the opposite of what we're talking about, which is to be undisciplined and not go. But Jared, you're totally right. You never regret a training session. Not a single time have I ever just dragged myself to a training session and then gotten done and been like, oh, that was a waste of time. You always get done and you're like, I'm glad I did that.
I mean, I've regretted not warming up before. That's for sure.
That's a fact. I'm the worst at warming up. I was saying that to the SWIT guys. Like, warm up, you mean my first 3 sets of whatever it is that I'm doing in the gym? Like, that's my warm up. There we go. That's how I'm going to get into it. I don't recommend that. Everybody go listen to the SWIT episode with JD and Zach. They crushed it. And go check out that BMT pre-session training plan. It's awesome. And you can look at all the data that they use to actually build the plan, which is pretty cool. They're very transparent about it. So there you go. And it's free in your face.
Free 50 free.
Indeed. Free 99.
I mean,
Well, what else you got?
There's a million training options out there. Maybe find one that fits for you. And if the first one doesn't fit for you, try something else. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's not a one size fits all thing. I think the last thing is, if we're going to talk about like mentality or anything, are there any books? We're always asking for, people are always talking about book recommendations. I am not a huge fan of the classical military literature that other people read, or like Gates of Fire. I still haven't read it, mostly on principle.
How dare you?
I'm not a Spartan.
That's a great book.
I'm never going to be a Spartan.
Why would you not read Gates of Fire?
It is just a good book.
My biggest fear is that I'll read it and I'll love it.
Yeah, sure.
So,
it's the same reason I haven't seen Squid Game. I got too much hype. I refuse.
Yeah.
Right.
What if you like it?
Okay. All right. Well,
Peach's face.
These are some of the books.
Peach's.
I mean, I'm not a big TV guy, but like,
what books you like?
Good. I like The Mission of the Men to Me.
It's a good one
by Pete Blaber. I do like, for as much as we like to poke it at Goggins, I do like the Can't Hurt Me, and then I'm losing the name of his new book, but I highly recommend doing the audiobook version of Goggins books just because there's extra stuff in there. Then you have things like Never Quit, Extortion 1-7, Extreme Ownership, any of the Simon Sinek books, Alone at Dawn by Dan Schilling, Supple Leopard, Why We Sleep, Atomic Habits. Golly, there's tons of them. Tribe
Sebastian
by
Younger.
Sebastian Younger.
Tribe's great.
That one is good.
Yeah, so there's so many of them that you can, and we are, believe it or not, we are working on the reading list. The three of us don't know HTML very well, so
We're the worst.
Coding,
Yeah, we're the worst.
like, yeah, man, really, everybody thinks that this whole thing is easy, and it's not that it's super hard or anything like that. But man, when you've grown up doing the things that we have, and then it's like, hey, you need to build websites and do that kind of stuff. It's like, boy, oh sure, just go hire somebody for it.
Yeah, Word.
No.
Yeah. Remember when
Okay.
the officer found out that we do everything ourselves?
That
was
story
pretty
about
funny.
That was hilarious.
Golly, that was hilarious. So all right, so we got to tell that story real quick. So we had a little telecon kind of thing with some very nice,
Awesome dudes.
very nice gentlemen. But they're very nice. But it was funny because I think he had reacted to something that he didn't mean to react to. So we were going through it because they want to start their own kind of podcast channel kind of thing, and which probably would do very well actually, and there's definitely a market for it. And they thought we had a team of people that were doing, the recording, the editing, all the social media stuff and everything. And when he found it, I was like, no, we just do it. And he's like, wait a minute, you guys just do it. Just the three of you.
He was
just,
incredulous. He
just
could not
do it.
believe.
Like,
we're like, no,
yeah.
we all manage the social media, and Peaches does the recording, and Aaron does the graphics, and we, the YouTube and whatever is, and Trent does this stuff, and they were just shocked. It took the guy back for like 5 minutes. Like he was like, you guys don't send it. And I think that was the actual quote. He's like, okay, so when you send the stuff out to get edited, like how long does it take them? Like, what does that work? And Peaches is like, I don't know, if I have a plane flight, like I'll knock out a bunch of reels and a bunch of stuff, and he's like, wait, you guys do everything? It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I couldn't pass that opportunity to talk about
100%.
enlisted officers, Like, so you think just because we're enlisted, we can't do this? Is
100%.
that what you're saying? That's not what he meant, but
Hilarious.
I can't help myself.
Oh man. All right. Well, that seems like a good spot to end. But I know that we talked about Cardomax, we talked about Hoist. We do have other partners out there, Attack Lead, 18 Alpha, Eberly Stock. But also, we've got merch. We just released 2 different hats. We've got the PVC patches out there that are in a 2D PVC patches with the Velcro on the back. That's free shipping on the PVC patch. Everything else you got to pay some shipping for. But yeah, check it out. Help support us. And especially if you like it, and then subscribe, leave a review, and definitely comment, especially if you're the Aaron Love Hate Club.
Yeah, but don't comment if you say dumb stuff. If you say something stupid, we're going to call you stupid. Okay? Like, I don't care. Like, the trolling comments, whatever. If you jump on, you're like, oh, I don't think I like this. I'm going to be like, well, you're dumb. We didn't ask you. We don't care. I'm sorry. That one had me, oh, this is dumb.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is... Okay, shut up. No one asked. Don't care. Move it along. Anyway.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Later, everybody.
Bye.